A routine traffic stop takes a dark turn when Officer Karen Thompson, a notoriously strict cop, pulls over Lisa Johnson, a black woman on her way home from work. Within minutes, the situation escalates. Karen's harsh words, unnecessary aggression, and blatant racial bias become clear. Lisa is handcuffed, humiliated, and arrested for a crime she didn't commit. But just when it seems like another case of injustice, an unexpected truth is revealed. One that flips the entire story upside down. What was Officer Thompson hiding? Why was Lisa really targeted? And how did a shocking twist turn this case into something no one saw coming? Stay tuned, because this story is about to take a jaw-dropping turn. Racial profiling by law enforcement is a harsh reality that many face daily. When Officer Karen Thompson pulls over Lisa Johnson, it seems like another case of abuse of power. Harsh words, unwarranted aggression, and an arrest that feels completely unjust. Lisa is terrified, humiliated, and desperate for answers. But as the truth slowly unravels, what seemed like a simple case of racism turns into something far more sinister. What shocking secret is hiding beneath the surface? Stay with us. This isn't just another story about racial injustice. It's a case with layers of mystery, deception, and an unexpected twist that no one saw coming. What if the racist cop wasn't acting alone? What if Lisa's arrest was more than just profiling? And what if the truth behind this encounter exposes something far more dangerous? Every detail in this story matters, and as we peel back the layers, you'll see why this case changed everything. Stay with us until the end. You won't believe what happens next. Lisa Johnson was just trying to get home after a long shift at work. It was late, the streets were quiet, and all she wanted was to relax after a stressful day. But fate had other plans. As she drove through an intersection, flashing red and blue lights suddenly lit up behind her. Her heart sank. She knew she hadn't done anything wrong, yet here she was, being pulled over. Lisa took a deep breath, trying to stay calm as she pulled to the side of the road. She rolled down her window and placed both hands on the steering wheel, just like her parents had taught her. Always make sure they see your hands. Her mother had warned years ago. Never give them a reason to say you were a threat. As she waited, she watched in her rearview mirror as Officer Karen Thompson stepped out of the police cruiser. Even from a distance, Lisa could see the officer's stiff posture and the cold expression on her face. This wasn't going to be a simple traffic stop. She could feel it. Karen approached Lisa's window, her flashlight beaming directly into Lisa's eyes. "License and registration," she barked, her tone sharp and impatient. Lisa kept her voice steady. "May I ask why I'm being pulled over, officer?" Karen scoffed. "I said, license and registration." Lisa slowly reached into her glove compartment, retrieving the documents. She handed them over, keeping her movements deliberate and calm. Karen snatched them from her hands and studied them, her lips pressed into a tight line. Then, without any explanation, Karen's demeanor shifted from cold to outright hostile. "Step out of the vehicle." Lisa's stomach twisted. "Excuse me? What's going on?" "I said step out of the car. Now." Lisa hesitated. She knew her rights. "Officer, I don't understand. Have I committed a traffic violation?" Karen's eyes darkened. "I don't have to explain myself. Either you step out, or I'll make you." Fear crept into Lisa's chest. She had heard the stories. Traffic stops that escalated, people who never made it home. But she also knew that refusing could make things worse. With a deep breath, she unbuckled her seatbelt and slowly stepped out of the car. The moment her feet hit the pavement, Karen grabbed her arm and roughly spun her around. "Hands on the hood." Lisa gasped. "What? Why are you doing this?" Karen ignored her and began patting her down. It wasn't a normal search. It was rough, almost violent. Lisa winced as Karen's hands pushed and prodded, searching for something that wasn't there. "This is unnecessary," Lisa protested. "I've done nothing wrong." Karen leaned in, her voice a venomous whisper. "People like you always say that." Lisa felt a surge of anger. "People like me? What's that supposed to mean?" Karen didn't answer. Instead, she pulled out her radio and spoke into it. "Suspect detained. Bring the unit." Lisa's blood ran cold. Suspect? What was she being accused of? Before she could ask, Karen yanked her arms behind her back and snapped on the handcuffs. The cold metal bit into her wrists. Lisa's heart pounded. This wasn't just a routine stop. This was something else. As Lisa stood there, helpless and humiliated, she noticed something strange. Karen wasn't just following protocol. There was something in her eyes, something almost personal, like she wanted this to happen. Lisa tried to stay calm. "Officer, please, just tell me what's going on." Karen smirked. "Oh, you'll find out soon enough." Lisa's mind raced. Was this just another case of racial profiling? Or was there something deeper, something she couldn't yet see? Then, the police backup arrived. But as soon as the second officer stepped out of the car, Lisa saw something that made her stomach drop. The way he looked at Karen, the subtle shake of his head, the tension in his body. Something was off. Something was very, very wrong. Lisa stood frozen, her wrists bound in cold steel, as the second officer approached. His name tag read Officer James Carter, and the moment he locked eyes with Karen, the tension between them was undeniable. "What's going on here, Thompson?" Carter's voice was firm, but there was a hint of unease beneath it. Karen didn't hesitate. "Suspect matches the description of a robbery suspect from earlier tonight. I'm taking her in." Lisa's heart pounded. "Robbery? This had to be a mistake." "That's a lie," she blurted out. "I was at work all night. Check the cameras. Check anything. I didn't do anything." Karen rolled her eyes. "Sure you didn't." But Officer Carter didn't seem convinced. His brows knitted together as he studied Lisa, then Karen. Something was off, and he knew it. "Thompson," Carter said slowly, "dispatch didn't mention any suspects fitting this description." Karen's jaw tightened. "I got a call directly. Said a woman in a red sedan was involved. Look at her car. It's red." Lisa's pulse raced. That was it? A red car? That was her crime? Carter crossed his arms. "And who gave you this call?" Karen hesitated, just for a split second. But Lisa caught it. And so did Carter. "I don't have to explain myself to you, Carter," Karen snapped. "I'm taking her in." End of discussion. Carter didn't move. Not without verifying the report. Karen's grip on Lisa's arm tightened. "Back off, Carter." Lisa could feel it now. Karen was nervous. This wasn't just about some false accusation. There was something more going on. Then, suddenly, Karen's radio crackled. "Dispatch to Officer Thompson. Be advised, we have no reports matching your suspect's description. Repeat, no reports." Silence. A tense, heavy silence. Lisa's breath caught in her throat. No reports. Karen had lied. Officer Carter's expression darkened. "Thompson, what the hell is going on?" Karen's face flushed with anger. "She's guilty. I know she is." Lisa couldn't believe what she was hearing. "She knows? Based on what?" Carter took a step forward. "This isn't right. You have no probable cause, no evidence, and now dispatch just confirmed there was no report. Let her go. Now." Karen's hand hovered over her holster. For a moment, Lisa thought she might actually draw her weapon. But then, Karen smirked. "You want to know why I stopped her?" Karen's voice was low, venomous. "Because she reminds me of someone." Lisa's stomach twisted. Karen leaned in close, her lips curling into something between a grin and a sneer. "My father was murdered in a robbery 10 years ago. The suspect? A black woman. She got away. Never caught." Lisa's eyes widened. Was this what this was about? Some twisted personal vendetta? Carter's face turned pale. "Karen, tell me you're not saying what I think you're saying." Karen let out a cold laugh. "They all run. They all lie. I'm just making sure she doesn't get the chance." Lisa's blood boiled. "You're arresting me because of something that happened 10 years ago? To someone else?" Karen's grin faded. "Justice comes in different forms." Carter took a deep breath, his hands clenching into fists. "Thompson, I'm giving you one last chance. Take off those cuffs. Let her go." Karen shook her head. "You don't understand." "No, you don't understand." Carter's voice was steel now. "You just admitted to false arrest, abuse of power, and racial bias. All on camera." Karen's eyes darted to Carter's chest. His body cam. Lisa's breath hitched. He had caught everything. For the first time, Karen's confidence wavered. Carter, I'm placing you under arrest, Officer Thompson. Carter reached for his cuffs. Karen stepped back. You wouldn't dare. But Carter wasn't playing games anymore. He grabbed Karen's wrist and twisted it behind her back. She yelped as the metal cuffs, the same ones she had slapped onto Lisa, clicked around her own wrists. Lisa stood in shock. This was really happening. Karen thrashed. You're making a mistake. I was doing my duty. No, Carter said firmly. You were abusing your power. And now, you're going to pay for it. Lisa exhaled, the weight of fear slowly lifting off her chest. She had almost been another statistic. But today, justice was on her side. But as Carter led Karen toward the squad car, Lisa noticed something. Karen was smiling. And that's when Lisa realized this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Lisa's heart was still racing as she watched Karen being led toward the police cruiser in handcuffs. It felt surreal, like a nightmare that had somehow flipped on itself. Just moments ago, she had been the one wrongly accused, humiliated, and on the verge of being taken away. Now, the very officer who had abused her power was the one under arrest. But something about the way Karen smirked sent a chill down Lisa's spine. Officer Carter opened the back door of the squad car and motioned for Karen to get in. You're being placed under arrest for abuse of power, false imprisonment, and racial profiling. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Karen chuckled under her breath. You really think you've won, don't you? Lisa frowned. Won? This wasn't a game. Carter tightened his grip on Karen's arm. Keep talking, Thompson. Just makes my job easier. Karen turned to Lisa, her eyes filled with something strange. Not fear, not anger, but amusement. You have no idea what you've just done. Lisa clenched her jaw. The only thing I did was survive your abuse. Karen didn't respond. She simply slid into the back seat of the cruiser, still smirking, as if she knew something they didn't. Lisa exhaled, trying to steady herself. It was over. She was free. But as she turned back toward her car, she noticed something strange. Across the street, a black SUV sat parked with its engine running. The tinted windows made it impossible to see inside, but Lisa could feel eyes on her. Watching. Waiting. Her stomach twisted. Carter, she said quietly. Carter followed her gaze, spotting the SUV. His expression darkened. Stay here. Lisa barely had time to react before Carter began walking toward the vehicle, his hand resting on his holster. The SUV didn't move. Carter raised a hand, signaling for the driver to roll down the window. Step out of the vehicle. Nothing. Lisa's pulse pounded in her ears. Something was wrong. Then, the SUV suddenly sped off, tires screeching against the pavement. Carter immediately reached for his radio. Suspect vehicle fleeing the scene. Black SUV, no plates, heading northbound on. Before he could finish, his radio cut off. The signal was jammed. Lisa's breath caught in her throat. What the hell is happening? Carter cursed under his breath. Stay in your car, Lisa. Now. But Lisa didn't move. Because deep down, she knew this wasn't just about Karen. Something bigger was at play. And she was right. Before Carter could react, his phone buzzed with an unknown number. Instinctively, he answered. This is Officer Carter. A deep, distorted voice spoke on the other end. You just made a big mistake. Carter stiffened. Who is this? The voice chuckled darkly. You don't know what you've stepped into, officer. But you will soon. And so will she. Lisa's blood ran cold. Carter's grip on his phone tightened. If you're threatening a civilian, Threat? The voice sounded almost amused. No, officer. This isn't a threat. It's a warning. Then, the call went dead. Silence. A heavy, suffocating silence. Lisa's hands trembled. Carter, what's going on? Carter clenched his jaw, scanning the empty street. The SUV was gone. The only thing left was an eerie stillness that sent a chill down both their spines. He turned back toward the squad car, where Karen sat in the back seat, watching them through the window. Still smiling, Carter exhaled sharply. Lisa, go home. Lock your doors. If anything feels off, call me. Lisa wanted to argue, wanted to demand answers. but something about Carter's tone told her she didn't want to know. Not yet. She nodded slowly. Be careful. Carter gave her a quick nod before turning back toward his own car. Lisa climbed into her vehicle, hands still shaking as she gripped the wheel. She had escaped one nightmare, but somehow, it felt like she had stepped into another. And as she pulled away from the scene, one thought kept echoing in her mind. Who was watching her? And what the hell had she just gotten caught up in? Lisa barely slept that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Karen's smirk. She heard the distorted voice from the phone call. She felt the weight of something much bigger than a routine traffic stop pressing down on her. By morning, she had decided. She wasn't going to sit back and wait for whatever this was to come to her. She needed answers. She grabbed her phone and dialed Officer Carter. It rang twice before he picked up. Lisa, you know what I'm going to ask, she said. A heavy sigh. Yeah. Who was in that SUV? Silence. Lisa clenched her jaw. Carter, don't shut me out. I was the one nearly arrested. I deserve to know what's going on. Carter hesitated, then finally spoke. Meet me at the station. Now. Lisa wasted no time. She threw on a jacket, grabbed her keys, and was out the door in minutes. The truth unfolds. When Lisa arrived at the station, Carter was waiting for her outside. He looked tired, like he hadn't slept either. He led her into a quiet office and shut the door behind them. What I'm about to tell you, he said, doesn't leave this room. Lisa nodded, her pulse quickening. Carter leaned against the desk. Karen Thompson wasn't acting alone. Lisa's breath hitched. Carter continued. She was part of a group, an underground network of officers who call themselves the Oath. Lisa frowned. The Oath? Carter nodded. They claim they're about restoring order. In reality, they're a rogue faction. Officers who think the law doesn't go far enough. Who believe in their own version of justice. Lisa's stomach turned. And they target black people. Carter's silence was confirmation enough. Lisa's hands curled into fists. How deep does this go? Carter exhaled. We don't know. But Karen was definitely involved. And that SUV? That wasn't just some random threat. That was them. Lisa's heart pounded. So when she said, you don't know what you've just done, she meant we just exposed something bigger, Carter finished. Something dangerous. Lisa's mind raced. If they're this organized, they won't let Karen's arrest slide, will they? Carter shook his head. No. Which is why you need to be careful. They see you as a problem now. Lisa swallowed hard. This wasn't just about Karen anymore. This was about an entire network of corrupt cops. People who had been operating in the shadows, protected by their badges. And now, Lisa had been pulled into their world. A shocking revelation. Before Lisa could respond, there was a sharp knock at the door. Carter tensed. He exchanged a look with Lisa before slowly opening it. A female officer stood there, her face unreadable. Captain wants to see you, she said, eyes flickering toward Lisa. Both of you. Lisa's stomach twisted. Why? The officer didn't answer. Now. Carter hesitated, then nodded. Let's go. Lisa followed, every step feeling heavier than the last. They were led down a long hallway to the captain's office. When they stepped inside, Lisa's breath caught in her throat. Sitting across from the captain was Karen Thompson. Free. Smiling. Lisa's entire body went cold. What the hell is she doing here? The captain folded his hands. Officer Thompson has been cleared of all charges. Lisa's mind reeled. What? You have video evidence. You heard what she said. The captain's face was unreadable. The footage was lost. Lisa felt like she had been punched in the gut. Lost? Karen chuckled, shaking her head. Oh, Lisa, you really thought you could take me down that easily? Lisa turned to Carter, but even he looked stunned. Karen leaned forward, her eyes gleaming with amusement. See, here's the thing. You don't get to fight people like me. You don't get to win. Lisa's fists clenched. This isn't over. Karen's smirk widened. Oh, I know. She stood up, brushing off her uniform like nothing had happened. And next time? You won't be so lucky. Lisa could barely breathe. The system had just let Karen walk free. No, not the system. The Oath. Lisa turned to Carter, fire burning in her eyes. We're going to take them down. Carter exhaled. It won't be easy. Lisa's jaw tightened. I don't care. Because now, it was personal. Lisa walked out of the police station, her heart pounding, her mind racing. This wasn't just about Karen anymore. This was about something bigger, something buried deep inside the system. A secret network, a silent war, and now, she was caught in the middle of it. But if they thought she was going to back down, they were dead wrong. Karen and the Oath had made one mistake. They underestimated her. Lisa turned to Carter. We start now. He nodded. Then let's bring them down. This fight wasn't over. It was just beginning. Subscribe for more gripping stories, because the truth always comes out.